This is Patek Philippe model 5200, the Gondolo 8 Days with day and date indication. Patek Philippe's reference 5200 Gondolo 8 Days day and date indication watch appeals to all aficionados who prefer manually wound timepieces. For this model, the Genevan workshops developed a new calibre that is in many respects reminiscent of the reference 5100 10 day presented 13 years ago to welcome the new millennium. Unlike the 5100, however, the new Gondolo contains innovative Silinvar components from the Patek Philippe Advanced Research think tank, for which the manufacturer has been granted numerous patents in the past years. The result is a fetching movement with a genuine 8-day power reserve display. Its date, displayed by hand, and large aperture for the day of the week, both instantaneously switching and an aesthetic personality, cannot fail to delight watch enthusiasts. The calibre is accommodated in an anatomically curved rectangular case that celebrates the Art Deco style. It is an impressive example of Patek Philippe's competence in designing and building extraordinary timepiece cases. There are many men among connoisseurs and aficionados of high-end horology who deliberately choose a manual wound timepiece. This is not just a fondness, it has some incontestable technical advantages. A watch that is wound by hand at regular intervals is very precisely adjustable because the declining torque of the gradually relaxing mainspring can be taken into account in the poising process. Conversely, in a self-winding watch, the tension of the mainspring varies with the intensity of the movements of the wrist while it's worn. Another argument in favour of manually wound timepieces is the tactile experience of turning the crown between fingertips and feeling the smooth action of the winding train. It's like a recurring ritual that strengthens the relationship between the watch and its owner. With the reference 5200 Gondolo 8 Days day and date indication, this procedure takes place every 8 days and requires 134 revolutions of the crown each time. The rectangular calibre 2820 movement enriches the Patek Philippe collection of currently produced manually wound movements. It was developed explicitly for the reference 5200 Gondolo. In twin, inline barrels, it stores the power needed to guarantee that it will run non-stop for 192 hours. This doesn't mean that the watch will then stand still. Instead, it has the power reserve required to safeguard the steady amplitude of the balance and its rate accuracy up to and including the 8th day. Insiders will no doubt remember the Patek Philippe 10 day, which had its debut in the year 2000 and delivered power for an additional 2 days. The fact that the reference 5200 falls short by 2 days is associated with the date indication and the day aperture. Advancing these calendar displays every day at midnight requires a lot of energy. This is remarkable, especially because the calendar is an instantaneously switching mechanism in which the day and date switch forward simultaneously at midnight within 3 milliseconds, faster than the blink of an eye. In the process, the large disc of the prominent day of the week display has to be advanced by 1 increment as well. Indeed, a power reserve of this magnitude is quite remarkable. Given the 8 lightning-fast calendar switching cycles, this applies all the more because when quantifying power reserve, Patek Philippe always factors in the energy needed for 1 further calendar switching cycle for functional reliability reasons. To a great extent, the staying power of the new calibre 2820 is due to the patented oscillator with Spiromax balance spring and a Pulsomax escapement, for which Patek Philippe has leveraged all the benefits of the innovative silicon-based Silinvar material. It is the manufacturer's first 4 Hz movement with these patented elements. The Pulsomax escapement with a Silinvar lever and escapement wheel requires no lubrication and yet is practically friction-free, which saves energy each time the lever contacts the escape wheel. With 5.53 million contacts in 8 days, this degree of efficiency really comes into the fore in a 4 Hz movement. Additionally, the extremely hard, totally anti-magnetic and corrosion-resistant Silinvar material is 2/3 lighter than the steel, which further optimises the energy balance. The efficiency of the escapement and the rate accuracy of the watch are further enhanced by precise machining to thousandths of a millimetre, as well as the patented geometry of the Silinvar lever and escape wheel developed by Patek Philippe. The patented Spiromax balance spring is made of the same revolutionary material. Thanks to the precisely computed geometry of the Patek Philippe terminal curve, thinness is combined with totally symmetric expansion and contraction. The advantages of Silinvar have a favourable impact on uniform breathing, which makes a decisive contribution to high rate accuracy. This innovative escapement can be admired through the sapphire crystal caseback, depending on the angle of the incident light. The balance spring, the lever and the escape wheel can be recognised by their purple to bluish hue. The aesthetic appeal is obviously inspired by the 10-day calibre, and apart from the large mainspring barrel plate, the calibre features a clever going train bridge, which at first sight seems to be an ensemble of three separate, gracefully curved bridges, as well as a generously dimensioned and thus highly rigid balance cock that securely carries the readily visible oscillator. The surfaces are decorated with Geneva striping and gold-filled engravings, the edges chamfered and polished, and the flanks longitudinally grained. This is a true gem that deserves to be showcased in its display window. Despite the addition of an elaborate instantaneous calendar mechanism with a date hand and an aperture day, the new calibre 2820 is merely 5.05mm high, just like the movement of the reference 5100 10-day. This innovative rectangular long-distance runner is housed in an anatomically curved and elongated white gold case with two-tiered flanks reminiscent of the most memorable Art Deco creations. In the Geneva workshops, it is crafted from solid gold bars using cold forming technology, shaped to perfection in numerous consecutive steps and then gradually polished to a mirror finish by experienced specialists who invest countless hours to achieve the perfect results. The screwed caseback incorporates an anatomically contoured sapphire crystal insert, and the crystal that protects the dial is ground to a convex shape that follows the silhouette of the case without distorting the view of the elegant and well organised dial. The dial is available in blue sunburst or silvery white. Emphasising the 9th day in red to remind the owner to wind the mainspring, the 8-day power reserve indicator occupies the upper half of the dial. Its lower half is reserved for the calendar functions, featuring a 31-day scale for the date and an aperture for the day of the week. The second subdial is integrated into the date circle. Securely riveted to the dial, the faceted white gold hour markers are mirror polished for the blue dial and blackened for the silvery opaline dial. The faceted style hour and minute hands in white gold are either mirror polished or matte blackened to match the dial colour. The date hand with the red tip and the hands for the subsidiary seconds and power reserve indicator are finished in white lacquer to contrast against the blue dial and blackened to match the silvery white dial. Discreet elegance and excellent legibility are two key prerequisites for the timelessness and lasting value of this watch, which is designed to serve its owners across several generations. Unquestionably, it is a paragon of aesthetics and functionality. The Patek Philippe reference 5200 Gondolo 8 Days day and date indication is worn on a hand-stitched alligator strap with large square scales, which is secured with an 18-carat white gold prong buckle. The strap is shiny blue to match the blue dial and matte black for the model with the silvery white dial.